Dr. Lamb, as you know, created this program with the intentions of improving health. And then this one in particular was for falls prevention and arthritis. That's what the studies were out to prove, that it helped with those things. And they did, they proved those things. When they went back to revisit, like, how many times you come to class where there is a therapeutic improvement, they came up with that number, 12. So whenever that was published, that's when our state people came in and said 12 is the new number for completers. But as y'all know, or hopefully you've experienced. I know Sharita and Gwen specifically, because y'all have been doing this a while. Y'all have been doing this consistently. A year ago when we did this class, y'all both came to the Tuesday class and the Friday class. It's not so much about how many times you come to class, it's how much you put into it. Not just in class, but outside of class. So, I mean, if you just come to class and you're here and you just like count the tiles on the ceiling and you're not really even listening or participating, well, there's not going to be that therapeutic effect, right? So I'm not saying anything revolutionary. I just want you to be encouraged to, put as much as you can or want to into it, and you're going to get that much back out of it. Is that not true with everything in our lives? What we get, what we put in, right? I mean, so I want y'all to get the most out of this class as possible. And this is really how Friday class was born, right? Because you got the basics in our beginner class and you're like, but I want more. I want more. I want to practice more. So I want y'all to let me know what exactly it is that you want out of it. Do we want to, and you may want all of it, so I'm guessing you want all of it. Continue practicing where kind of we left off in December, which means, yes, we had progressed. We were, getting better at the advanced movements. I know a year ago we were even working on part two movements. Is that what you're wanting to do, or do you want to explore principles more, or breathing more, or or do you know what are you thinking? I heard noise, but I didn't hear words. Well, y'all don't have to tell me now. Think about it.
No, my tablet went out, so
Oh, okay.
it just came back out.
Okay.
And what I wanted to say was it's benefiting me health wise. I am a diabetic, and so it has helped me with my um, breathing. It has helped me with trimming up. It's the benefit, my strength, my balance. So it's everything for me.
Very good. Well,
Endurance.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just everything is beneficial for me.
Good. Well, it's kind of my intention to really, continue our practice and learning our moves and getting better at our moves, and then insert information that's really kind of beyond that beginner class. And, it's what we kind of did a year ago. But as y'all know, I always let y'all lead me. So what your needs are where I want to follow. And so how about we just get started today? We go through our moves, and we'll just let it, we'll just let it naturally flow. Um, I didn't change my shoes. And I'll tell you why. It's because it's cold and I didn't want to I didn't want to take my socks off. So let me take, so I talked about that on Tuesday about footwear. Y'all were there. And, again, backless shoes, but the warm socks fit in the backless shoes. So look at this balance right here. That's our goal is balance. And you see, even I'm holding on to this table for the purposes of safety. So those shoes help me feel grounded. I can really just dive into my movements whenever I have shoes that support me, protect me. And those are, what are they? I think my mama calls them scudabouts, where you just scud about through. You're not really, worrying about too much. You're just scudding about. All right, so let's start opening and closing our hands, getting our bodies warmed up. It's definitely not warm outside. I don't think any of us are in an area where we have bad weather. Um, Eastman, you may be the closest town that to the weather. My brother's in Woodstock. He sent a picture, and he has snow in his neighborhood and on his house. And even though we may plan on getting rain later this afternoon, it's not going to be cold enough for that stuff here. But still, it's cold. And when it's cold outside, our muscles are cold. So it takes a little extra to get it warmed up. The space heater is great. I turn it on to warm up the air, but that's just helpful to come from warm muscles so that you can move better, stretch better, and we're here for the mobility. Gwen, you shared about how it's helping you with balance and movement and all the things. And if you incorporate these outside of Tai Chi, you're going to continue to get benefits for mobility. Hopefully through reducing tension. I have been at my desk more this week than I have been, and I feel it in my shoulders and my back. And so being aware of that helps us go, whoa, we got to make some changes. Get up and move. Don't hold tension. Sitting at a desk is awful for my body. So here we go. Let's start with our warm-ups in our stable stance. Good posture, slight bend of the knee, starting with our neck. Up towards our chin and chest. Push. There's that gentle resistance type wording. Chin to chest. You feel that stretch in the back of your neck as your chin goes to your chest. And even though this movement is for our neck, we're moving our shoulders, our arms, our wrists. So we're warming up and stretching a lot more muscles than just our neck with this movement. So take full advantage of all of those pieces and parts of the movement. The next one, we come up, and now we're going to drop one hand to our hip. Looking over that shoulder, you feel a stretch in your neck. But remember, this opposite shoulder, if we pull that shoulder back, we make that stretch even more. So we're looking over that shoulder and pulling this one back and just really extending that stretch. And this comes with time because flexibility doesn't happen after one time we stretch, does it? We can't just plop down in a split the first time we try it, unless we're 5 years old. And 5-year-olds seem to do flexibility rather easy. Not all of them, of course, but it's, you know what I'm saying. So, we have to work towards our flexibility and mobility. Over time, we get more and more flexible. Over time, we let tension go, and that helps us be more mobile. For our shoulders, let's roll our shoulders forward. and roll our shoulders back. Thinking about quarter-size circles. I think mine are always a little bit bigger than that. But it just feels so good. It's like a massage you give yourself. When we think about the purpose and intention of each movement, reminding ourselves of our principles of body structure where we stay upright. And then, of course, slow, smooth, and continuous. Our movements are gentle and fluid and slow. And sometimes it's hard to slow down. I love this movement for breath. Inhaling as I bring my hands up and exhaling as I push down. Now, taking note of our shoulder circle, when we bring these hands up, we don't come up. We come up and then we turn our hands over. So we're not bringing our shoulders up. It's here. Our hands are about shoulder height, and then we turn and push down. So don't try to make it too big. I know that we're accustomed to that thinking of bigger is better. So keep it small. Here's our ball, and we're going to separate those hands, stretching our spine. So one hand's up, the other down. Remember, keeping that soft bend. Really feel those muscles in my back stretching. Those ones that have gotten tight this week sitting at that desk. Thinking about breathing, I like to inhale as I come to my ball and exhale as I separate those hands. Back to our ball. Now let's take it for a ride side to side. And we're not going as far as we can, but we are engaging our core. So we're tightening those muscles in our stomach. We're tightening those muscles in our back and using those muscles to push ourselves side to side. So I want to challenge you as you go through your week to engage your core. And it's kind of a balance to kind of figure out because tightening that muscle, what does tightening lead to? Tension, right? But also to have those moments of release. So we use our muscles, we engage our core. When we have a strong core with the muscles in our front and our back, it helps support our spine. So when we practice upright posture, we can't have good upright posture without good muscle control. So if our muscles are really weak, then we just kind of slumpy. So we practice good posture and engage our muscles so that it supports our spine. You know, you think about pain in our back, which happens so often. I know some of my hard moments from lounging around and my back kind of gets icky. And so that those muscles, when they support that spine, then we'll have less pain from that. All right, that's a very official word. All right, so those are for our spine. Let's move to our lower body, which we know uh, the difficulty increases when we go lower body because we're transferring weight. So we're going to shift weight to one leg, place our heel out forward, hands back, pause in the middle, and toe back, hands forward. So this movement is challenging because we're holding our weight on that one leg for quite some time. Now that pause in the middle, we may put a tiny bit, a weight on that foot to give some relief to that leg holding our weight. But making ourselves do this, even if we're holding on to a chair, helps strengthen those muscles. We don't get stronger without the work. And so having weight on one leg definitely increases the muscle and stability strength of our legs, which it just makes sense. If we're stable, we're less likely to fall. So challenging ourselves to have weight on one leg really does strengthen those muscles. And I think y'all are really seeing that as you practice Tai Chi and specifically weight transfer. All right, next is where we do shift weight from one leg to the other, tapping that foot out. Really be mindful of a couple things here. Posture. So we don't want to lean as we shift the weight. We want to keep our body upright. And then also in terms of the weight transfer, when we shift our weight to this one leg, we want our body and weight to be directly over top of that knee and leg, and that protects that knee. Because if we're off-centered with that weight, then it can start wearing on our knee and causing ourselves pain, causing that arthritis to flare up more. And so take your time in shifting the weight, and before you commit to pulling that foot up and tapping out, make sure that weight is right over top of that knee. I'm not going to encourage you to do it wrong, to feel it the wrong way, because I think you know when you have done it wrong, because I have a bad knee and that knee will glitch on me if that weight isn't right over top of it. So these are things to think about as we transfer our weight. Now for our knees, we shift, lift. There's that bravery moment, right? Where I'm like, is my weight right? Is my posture right? Am I really ready to pick up that foot? Pick it up, tap and punch. And with this weather, I've been hearing a lot of people talk about how their joints are really hurting. So these may not be your best joint days. I hear if a weather front is coming in, then your joints hurt more. And so I think a weather front, I assume, I mean, it's not raining now and it's going to be raining, so some kind of front's coming through. This may not be your best weather moment with your joints because of the weather. I don't think I said any of that right. But on your worst days, do the best that you can do. But forgive yourself for not being able to completely do it. Again, hold on to your chair on those bad days. On your best days, challenge yourself to keep that foot up a little bit higher as you place it out. And you probably can't see it from the front view, but let me turn to the side. Again, checking my posture, shift. Okay, my weight's over top of that foot. Am I ready? Yep, I think I'm ready to lift and put that foot out into the air, bring it back and down. So this is a big challenge for me. Is that foot or leg that's holding my weight, is it wobbly? Yeah, I feel my toes gripping the floor. But look at me remaining upright. Now, to try this for the first time, you might have this table. You might have something stable nearby and you go, okay, we're going to try lifting that foot up higher off the floor. Let's shift the weight and then put it out there. So you have this table here that you can rely on. Maybe you have this wall here and you're like, okay, we're going to try it. Let's posture, weight shift. You know, here's the wall. I'm not touching it, but I know it's there if I need it. So those are ways to challenge yourself, but still be safe about it. And it also relieves some of that fear in your brain. So many people are scared that they're going to fall. And they've never fallen, but they're so scared to fall that they won't try anything. So then you limit your activity and you get weaker and more unable because you're scared. And that's just one of the number one things that leads to falls is just your fear that you're going to fall. I read something at some point where, let's go with our knee exercises. Let's shift a step, shift forward as you punch and bring it back. But it was something along the lines of, if you think about a yellow car, then you're going to see so many yellow cars. If you think about fear and falling, then you're going to give into that fear. But if you change your wording, that you're able, you're going to try with support, that you have ways that you can assist yourself to not fall, equip yourself with those tools, and just thinking about different words decreases the chance that you will fall. So think about that as you choose the words that you choose to think about and the words that you choose to say. And that makes a big difference. It goes along with making that habit of writing 5 things that you're grateful for every day. I think Oprah encouraged it years ago, like a gratitude journal. But if you're focused on the things that you're grateful for, then your eyes are gonna be opened to all the good things. In the same sense, if you were to focus on all the things that were wrong in life, that's what you're going to see. So I encourage you in this new year to get your mind in check. And y'all's may be in check. I'm just being encouraging to you because even our most positive people have those moments where we forget. And it's always good to be reminded. And sometimes it just seems like everything is going wrong. And in those moments, what do I tell myself? This is just so that I appreciate the good things. Because if it was sunshiny all the time and it never rained, we might not appreciate the sunshine as much. And we're just working these ankles. And I say our ankles kind of get pushed to the side, but look, here I am just going through it like they're not a big deal. But it is probably one of our less complicated moves. Not less important, but less complicated. So you're feeling nice and stretched out and ready to do our Tai Chi. All right, here we go. We're going to go all the way through part 1, basic 6 and advanced 6. And I'll just call out the names of the movement. Then we'll come back and we'll talk about the movements, or I'll walk you through the movements with the words and then answering questions if you have any, and then we'll continue to practice. All right, here we go. Again, reviewing in our minds our principles, specifically body structure, where we make sure we do have that upright posture, our feet shoulder width apart, and that's a more stable stance. Thinking about open joints where we don't lock our elbows, lock our knees, we keep our armpits room to breathe, and we're breathing, right? All right, here we go. And commence. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Remember, we're counting to 6. We got 2, 3, 4, and close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Again, 6. Engage those core muscles as you turn side to side. Armpits are breathing. No tension in your shoulders. Really feel that meditation in movement, open and close. All right, I got to move over so we can do our advanced 6. We go to the left first. Remember, I teach a mirror image. All right, here we go. And brush knee. Hey, the loop. Hairy punch. Lock and close. Push the tiger. Open, close. Brush knee. Play the loop. Hairy punch. Lock and close. Push the tiger. Open, close. Close it out. Did it all come back to you? Or y'all been practicing? Y'all know this. So let's do it again. This time I'm going to talk you the way through it. And here we go. From the top. Commence. Hands come up. Down, shift right. Step left. Remember, empty. Bring your hands in and up. Shift left as those hands go out. Right foot forward. Hands come back. Open and close. So when you brought your hands back is whenever you put weight on both legs, okay? So single whip, shift left, step out right, adjust weight, push, turn, separate, eyes follow that left hand. Shift left, bring that right foot, right hand back, waving hands in clouds. Step, switch hands, turn, shift. Step, switch hands, turn, shift, step, switch, turn, shift, step, switch, turn, shift, step, switch, turn, shift, step, switch, turn, come back to the middle for open, close. Single whip, shift right, step left, adjust weight, push, turn, separate, eyes follow that right hand, shift right, bring that right foot, right hand back, waving hands and clouds, step, switch, turn, shift, 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 step, switch, turn, and back to the middle for open and close. Let the real fun begin with advanced 6. Here we go. Brush knee, shift left, right toe in and reach. Shift right, separate, prepare. Step left, bring that right hand around and push as I shift left. Follow step right. Play the loop. Step back right, turn hands. Shift as they pass, get to that elbow, follow step left, parry punch, step left and flip, shift and parry, step right and flip, shift and parry, step right, guard, come back, get your flowers, shift as you deliver and follow step right, block and close. Step back right, release hands, shift as they come back to my hips, follow step left, push the tiger, step left, push as I shift, follow step right to the front, step, shift and step, hands face, open, close. Now all that to the right side, shift left, I'm doing brush knee. I'm doing single whip. Sorry. All right. Brush knee. I should be doing brush knee, right? Shift right. Left toe in and reach. Shift left. Step back and prepare. Step right. Bring this left hand around. Shift right as I push. Follow step left. Play the loop. Step back left, turn hands, shift as they pass, follow step right. Parry punch, step right and flip, shift and parry. Step left and flip, shift and parry. Step right and guard, get your flowers, shift, deliver, follow step left, block and close. Step back left, release hands, shift as they come down to my hips, follow step right, push the tiger, step right, push, follow step left, now to the front, step left, shift and right, adjust weight, hands face, open and close, and close it out. So there are our basic 6, advanced 6. Do you need clarifications on any of those things? All right. Things I want to talk about is, or not talk about, but just remind you about, is the empty step. So as we practice empty step, we are also practicing keeping weight on one leg. So the longer and more we practice weight on one leg, the stronger the muscles in that leg gets. So if you can do it safely, then keep weight on one leg or foot or leg, as they're connected, and place that foot out, then shift the weight. So you're placing that foot out And there's an element of putting that foot out there and making sure you're not going to step into a hole, step onto a Lego. There's that element to it. But in reality, we're practicing more of holding weight on one leg as we place that foot out there. Okay. So when we do that, we're keeping weight on one leg longer. So there's that. Thinking about not being in a hurry. Because what happens is that we learn these movements. It takes us so long to get there to where we know what we're doing, and we fall into the whole slow, smooth, and continuous principle of movement control. And next thing we know, we're shifting weight as we're stepping because we're trying to be continuous. How do I know that? Because that's what I did. That's what I caught myself doing, is being continuous and not sitting with that empty step, then shifting the weight. So when you place that foot, and in my mind, I'm just thinking about advanced movements. So we're going to think about this and just do our advanced movements. We know our basic six. Our advanced six, that's where we're trying to get better at. The muscle memory of advanced six. So as we go through this class, that's what we're trying to do. Explore our movements and how to get the most out of the movements that we've learned. And now we're just learning them in a whole different way. And so when I do that empty step, typically there's something going on up here that I can spend time doing while that weight is still on the other leg and I've stepped out empty. And that lengthens that time that your weight is on this other leg. So whenever we step, shift, then follow step, remember the follow step is empty. We never step and immediately give weight. And so that follow step foot is the next step. And so if that's just a rule and easy to help you know what's next. So let's go through our advanced movements and think about what is happening when my computer has pop-ups. Okay. I need to close my email too. I'm going to do that. All right. When I keep my email open, it'll pop up when I'm getting the email. So advanced six, when we empty step, what is happening with our upper body that lengthens that time for our empty step to just sit there? Okay, so brush knee. Now, brush knee is our first time that we pivot, okay? And the pivot is a special movement that is in our part 2 movements, where we move a foot. There's a tiny bit of weight there. So we've shifted the weight. There's still a little bit weight on this foot as we pivot on that heel. And so that is a very special movement that really takes a lot of muscle control to be able to pivot. So we shift the weight and pivot. And at the same time as we pivot that right hand in, we're reaching out that right arm. And our left hand comes down to protect that elbow. So we reach, and by calling it reach instead of laying that hand out, that lends itself to gentle resistance. Reach. You feel the muscle that it takes to reach versus just lay our hand out forward. Either way is right, but being able to practice gentle resistance is the beauty of advanced movements. Really diving into principle. Shift, right toe in and reach. Shift, step back. Okay, step. Okay, that's empty, right? So here's one of those moments. We've empty step. We're not going to immediately give weight to this left foot. What's happening with our upper body? This is what's happening. We take this right hand and we come back and then turn and push, right? When we push, that's when the weight shift happens. But before that weight shift happens, it's this right here. We take our time because we're slow, right? But also we're challenging the mobility of that joint. Now, you may have problems with this elbow. You may have problems with this shoulder. I mean, you may have a glitch in your back that keeps you from fully reaching back here, turning that hand. Because I feel it in my wrist, I feel it in my elbow, I feel it in my shoulder. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just being very conscious of what muscles are working as I reach back. I feel a little in my neck. It may be because I'm turned to the side or turned towards y'all, but I feel it in this upper part of my shoulder or back. Lots of muscles involved in that. Not everybody can reach back here. Or you may have one arm that has no problem reaching back. See, this is, I don't know what I got going on with this shoulder. One of my friends had shoulder surgery and she talked about having cartilage that was floating around in her joint. When they did surgery, they removed it. And sometimes I think maybe that's what's going on with my shoulder because sometimes it bothers me and sometimes it doesn't, but it definitely limits my mobility. So you may have one shoulder that works a little bit easier or better than the other. And so whenever I come back on this shoulder, I maybe can't reach back as far. So I have to stop about right here and turn. That's when I turn and go to push. So listen to your body. So if I told you to do a back bend and your body said, mm-mm, your brain said, mm-mm, I'm not, can't, don't even want to, it's more important for you to listen to your body and don't just follow me blindly. Test it out. See how far can you reach, even without worrying about what's going on down here. Right now, I'm in a staggered stance. One foot's further up than the other one. That's that nice, stable, staggered stance. And I'm thinking about mobility of that shoulder. How can I stand here facing this wall? And what is that natural movement of that shoulder? How far can I reach back comfortably before I turn and push? So, challenge yourself, but also listen to any, limitations that your body is giving you. With that said, good days and bad days, just like I talked about before, do more on your good days. On your bad days, envision that you're fully doing it and do what you can. But don't let it stop you from doing it at all. So here we've stepped. There's that empty step. Hold on, I didn't turn my toe. So shift, right toe in and reach. Shift right, separate, and prepare to step left. Now, empty step. What's happening with that empty step? This. Reach back. And when I get to this shoulder, when my hand is facing to the left, the wall, that's when it's time to shift to my left foot. So shift as I push, but still remaining upright. I'm not leaning into that weight transfer. Shift, and when that arm is extended, but not straightened, there's still that soft bend. The weight is transferred, the arm has extended. Now I follow step right. And so that's the end of that movement. That follow step, again, no weight. So our weight is still all on that left foot that we shifted it to follow step. We're going to step back, step back. When we step back, remember it's empty, we turn our hands. So we're preparing our hands to pass each other. So they go from here to here, pass each other. And when I get to that elbow, that's where my follow step happens. So the shift happens as my hands pass. The follow step happens when I get to this elbow. So here I've ended brush knee, follow step. Okay, play the lute. Step back right, turn hands. Shift as they pass. Follow step right. Parry punch. I'm going to step right. Remember, empty step. Flip. So my hands, I just can't help but think about the waffle maker at the hotel. But you flip it. We go from our hands passing each other up and down like this and play the lute to parry punch. They pass each other laying down. Again, flip like the waffle maker. Pass each other laying down. The elbow is the stopping point of that movement. Stop at the elbow. Stop at the elbow. Do you feel your wrists being challenged in those movements as you turn, push? So for three times, our hands pass and stop at the elbow with play the lute, flip, pass, stop at the elbow with parry. That's a parry. Stop or flip and parry. So it's like putting on the gloves here. So the shift happens with the parry, just like the shift happened with the play the lute. So let me go back here. Okay, play the lute, step back right, turn hands, shift as they pass. And when I get to that elbow, follow step. Parry punch, step and flip. Shift as I parry. And when I get to that elbow, I step and flip. Shift as I parry. When I get to the elbow, I step. Make a guard. Okay, so I've just stepped into parry, parry, and I made my guard. I've stepped with my left foot. So here's what's happening on that empty step. Because there's not always a whole lot going on with the empty step, but there's these moments where I want you to make the most of that empty step. This is when we're grabbing our flowers from our back pocket. So we're here, we've empty stepped left, we've put up our guard, and our right hand is reaching back in our back pocket. Again, mobility. And we're going to bring it up and deliver those flowers. And the delivery happens as we shift weight. And when we get the flowers there, we follow step. Now I know it's parry, parry, punch, but I like delivery flowers better because we can pretend it's in our back pocket, and that leads us to mobility of being able to reach back, bring that arm back. You know, you think about losing mobility. Well, I don't even have a pocket today, but I love putting stuff in my back pocket. You know, my chapstick or my phone. It takes mobility to be able to put stuff back there and to pull stuff out, right? If you have an itch in your back, it takes mobility to scratch it. Not everybody can do that. You might have to go to a door frame and go up and down to itch a scratch if you don't have the mobility. And this delivering flowers business helps you with mobility. So we grab our flowers back here and deliver, well, that's why I like the flowers. Because if you were holding flowers, I mean, all I have is a pen right here. That's all the flower I have. So if I were to hold a bunch of flowers, I would hold them in that hole. Here, that's why I like deliver flowers better than punch. Because if I were to punch you, I would go here, boom. I wouldn't punch you with my left hand. I'd punch you with my right hand because I'm stronger with my right hand. Poof. We're not punching people. We're delivering flowers. Here. And remember the part about delivering the flowers is we come right over here. Our wrists are hovering on top of each other. We come straight over top of that arm, that guard arm. Remember, we're not coming back and hammering down on ourselves because then we'd be hurting ourselves. So practice getting that flower and delivering right over top. So we stop when our wrists are right over top of each other. So let that remind you. Also, something I just did is a reminder too. Man, I had this finch clenched like I was doing something. Don't hold tension. You hear me? Don't hold tension. Loose fist. Always loose fist. Even when you're holding flowers. I mean, I'm really holding a pen, so I kind of have to use a little bit of grip. But we don't really have flowers. So don't clench your fist. Make everything really soft whenever you're delivering those flowers here. Don't clench your fist. And I was doing that. So that was what was happening whenever we empty stepped and came and delivered. Follow step. Now we are home free in our block and close and push the tiger. So here I follow step right. I'm going to step back right and release my hands. Shift as they come down to my hips and follow step. And now sometimes you may notice that I do this. It's not a have to, but it's one of those like soft little circular moments where I have I've delivered the flowers and I come back. I step back, release hands, shift, and then when I get to my hips and I'm about to follow step, I kind of come up and then sink down. So when I follow step, I bring my hands back and then I lift my knees up a little bit and then I sink into that block and close. Block and close. It's almost like an exhale. And if I'm breathing, I probably am exhaling. So I'm here, boom, block and close. You see that? Push the tiger, step, shift as I push, follow step. I do it there too. At the very end of that push the tiger moment, it's push. And then when I follow step, I'm up. Or whenever, as soon as I follow step, I'm up. And then I sink into it. There's no weight shift, but I sink into that move and into that move before I step to the front, shift, step, open, close. So our goal is to make the most of our movements in those, either the end of that weight shift, before that follow step, or when we have follow step and we're on empty. What else is going on that we can make the most of that movement? All right, it is 9:59, y'all. Oh, time flies. We have 16 weeks to explore these movements, but let's give ourselves a nice fist massage for now. Hopefully it gave you something to think about. Remember, my challenge for you this week is to engage core. And so I'll ask you about that next week, only because I'll write it down to remind myself that I need to ask you about it. No, I try to be always conscious about engaging my core as I move in the day, as I sit in a chair. I think I'm better for it. So, nice fist massage, telling our legs thank you, knowing that you may be a little sore if you haven't spent a lot of time weight shifting and then doing these movements. But intentionally tighten, feel that tension. No, we cannot live in tension. We have to let it go. If we live in tension, we're going to live in pain. Let it go. Tension leads to pain. And release. One more time. Tense up and release. Now let's breathe. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. And to end class, we have our right fist. Remember, not clenched, a right fist representing our strength. Our left fingers together representing our friendship. Thumb in our humility. When we put those together in mutual respect, we say namaste. Y'all, I love Tuesday class. I love introducing new people to Tai Chi. But this is my jam all the way. This is my jam. I
Yes.
love really talking about each movement and really what can we do with a movement that is just much more complicated than, the specifics of where we're placing things, but just the internal experience. So thank y'all for being interested because I love this. And I love sharing this part of Tai Chi too. Y'all have anything for me?
We're ready.
Okay, very good. Well, I will see y'all either Tuesday or next Friday. Always let me know if you need anything. And I hope y'all have a wonderful weekend.
Okay.
Love y'all.
Have a nice weekend,
All right,
guys.
you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.